Welcome in.
Yeah.
It goes on Wheat Street.
Yeah.
It is going to be an epic day as the Chicago Bears take on the Indianapolis Colts. We are going to have a huge crowd here. They're still filing in right now, but this is the place to be today. In fact, you can still come. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube right now and you're in the city, come over to Joe's on Wheat Street because we still got some room for you. This is the CHGO Bears pregame show. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr., Corey Wootton, all here with you. What's going on, boys?
Let's go. Yeah. Come on through if you're in town. Limited tickets. This place is going to be packed.
Well, we have a couple tickets left, but let's shout out the early arrivers. I love to see all of you here.
Let's go.
That's right. 1 hour early, here for pregame. These are the true diehards. These are the reason that I wake up in the morning and get
All
super
the early arrivers. I've already said all the early arrivers. Drinks are going on your tab.
That's fine. Let's go. Lock it in.
That credit card will bounce.
It's fair assessment. All the Miller Lite all day long, whatever else you want. Let's go. Mimosas are flowing. We get the Bloody Marys. Let's do this.
It's finally raining here in Chicago. We needed it. It doesn't matter. The game's in Indy. The roof's closed today, so this is going to be an indoor game. And we got Inactives. We got a bunch of things we need to discuss. We also want to shout out the new 85 collection, which is out now with the rest of our awesome ALLCITY merch, which you can get at store.allcitynetwork.com, including this hoodie I'm wearing today, that shirt that Carman is wearing, the shirt that
Wood is not
the
wearing.
Meatball. The meatball's wearing. No, the Cole Komet designs are sweet.
Yes,
they are sweet. The baseball swinging one. I already got it on lock. I already got it purchased.
Yeah, and then the little golf flavor to it too for Woot.
Yeah,
so,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's jump right in, guys.
Yeah, let me tee you up here, Hogue, because I know that you've been thinking about this all week long. There's only one person on this set that picked the Colts. We won't talk about that right now. Someone had to do it. I don't know who that was. All right. What matters most today, Adam Hoge, to make Bears fans feel good that whatever matters most today, the Bears are going to be able to do?
Well, let me turn this question around on you guys real quick. One-word answer for each one of you. Who do you trust more between these two quarterbacks to protect the football today? Caleb Williams or Anthony Richardson? Woot.
I'm going to say Caleb Williams.
Braggs.
Caleb.
Carm.
Caleb.
I agree, because I think between the two of them, and it's a small sample size, obviously, for both of these quarterbacks, and especially for Caleb, but I do think that when you look at when Caleb turned the ball over last week, they were in situations where he kind of had to take a risk, where, yeah, he'd want those back, but when you go back to week one when he did protect the football and the Bears won the game. Anthony Richardson's been giving away the football like he's trying to hand out presents to everybody.
3 picks against the Packers, 2 fumbles, got them both back, but yes, that's 5.
So in this game today, what matters most, just do not turn the ball over, and you will win the football game.
No.
And on top of this, let's say even it's a wash. Like, let's say if I asked that same question to 4 dudes doing the Indianapolis Colts show in Indy right now, they'd probably all, say Richardson. Fine. So it's a tie. It's a tie. Which defense do you trust more to turn the other quarterback over?
Bears defense
the Bears.
by far.
So to me, this is why ultimately, again, we're kind of giving away our picks here, but why I'd side towards the Bears in this game, it came down to this exact thing. Who wins the turnover battle today between these two teams? And I just trust Caleb a little bit more than I trust Anthony Richardson. I definitely trust the Bears defense more than I trust the Colts defense to take the ball away. So that, to me, is what matters most.
It's good start right there. Why don't we go down to the man who played in the trenches, who knows what it takes to be successful in this league. Let's not talk about your Wildcats yesterday. Let's talk about Corey Wootton winning football games. What do you got today, Woot?
So, well, like Hoge said, it comes down to not turning the football over. And you look at last week against the Houston Texans. That's probably going to be 2 of the best defensive ends we go against all year. Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter. You look at this week, they got Pay and Tyquan Lewis. So I think from a matchup standpoint, it's going to be a lot easier for our tackles going against these two. This game comes down to running the football, how we can get that run game going. And obviously we got some talented backs. When are we going to get Khalil Herbert involved, Roschon Johnson? We know what Swift can do, catching the football in space, yards, breaking tackles afterwards. He really hasn't been that successful. But when are we going to get Khalil Herbert? When are we going to get Roschon Johnson? when are we going to get the identity of this offense? Because it's going to take the pressure off Caleb. We're going to have to get the running game going if the offense is going to have any success.
I mean, Caleb did say this week that he thinks that it's close. Gregory, you sticking with something along the run game?
Well, when you bring up identity, Corey, like they even said during the week, they're still trying to figure out what they want their identity to be. And so at this point, the run game is non-existent.
That's been a 10-year conversation.
Yeah, and it's about time they figure that out. And so you have an opportunity here today in the next few weeks against teams that, give up the run game and the three worst rushing teams statistically so far in the first 2 weeks of the season. What matters most to me, though, is let's get out to an early lead, because that's also something that changes the complexion of your play calling. And it doesn't I hope it's the offense that gets them out to an early lead, but the defense is also welcome to do that too. Yeah, for week one, you start out, you're down 17-0, and you're chasing your tail. That's changes your whole complexion on how you're going to call plays. Week two, Texans have you on your heels the entire time. Jack Sanborn nearly had an interception on CJ Stroud's first throw last week. The offense, if they can get out to an early lead, that would be a great momentum shift, and that gives the defense an opportunity to pin their ears back, and it gives the offense an opportunity to settle into play calling where they're not chasing.
Yeah, early lead, and you just maybe memories of Sand God. Anybody just go memories of Sand God? Just fly, like the effort in it was beautiful last week, 57. There's one matchup here, Hoger, Gregory. Woot, Coleman, Shelton, please find your footing, my friend. It is time for you to take some leadership up front, make it easier for your rookie quarterback, and also you got a big nose tackle in Grover Stewart that he's going to have to deal with today. So we haven't seen Coleman move anybody. I'm wondering if he can move Greg Braggs with his injured knee. Great dance this week by you. This is a big challenge here as far as getting the run game going today. And for the record, I am betting on the run game going, literally bet on the run game going today. So I'm hoping this happens, but that is one matchup. If for those of you who in the moment don't like to look, maybe don't watch the grand picture, but want to settle in on one thing to see if the Bears are going to have some success here, that is one matchup that I think you can key in on.
And talking about that, a young quarterback, right, that's kind of been struggling, and not all his fault. He has to play a little bit better, but how do you take the pressure off him? You get the run game going. It opens up the play action. It helps this struggling offensive line. So hopefully, like I said, it's a war of attrition. Sometimes it doesn't always work right at first, but you wear the opposing defenses down. The one great part is DeForest Buckner, that is an offense killer, is not going to be out there today.
It was really interesting on Friday for the preview show that Nick Moreano and Herb Howard did. They had Nate Atkins on from the Indy Star. And when we were watching the Colts game last week, Hoge, you asked me, why wasn't Jonathan Taylor in the game in the last quarter of their loss against the Packers? Well, it turns out
go ahead.
Nate Atkins said that Jonathan Taylor isn't that great in pass protection.
Yeah.
So that is a way, if you can get him off the field where they're in obvious passing situations, that hurts them in a multitude of ways, where you can't disguise what you're doing and you have their best player off the field. But in order to do that, as I said, you got to have a lead.
Talking about pass situations, I think that's why Khalil Herbert really maybe hasn't got as much tick, because I know in the past he's kind of struggled in pass protection. I know Roschon Johnson's been a little bit better. Swift historically has been better, but I think Herbert maybe not in the lineup as much, especially on those passing situations, because a couple times years ago whiffing on pass protection. So I know they've been down about his pass protection.
I'll give you a coaching matchup too real quick. Anthony Richardson so far is completing under 50% of his passes, 49.1. He's had 5 designed quarterback runs, 5 of them. This guy literally could lead the league, is definitely for quarterbacks, maybe even further up the food chain if they let him run the football. He is that dynamic. They haven't done it. So Jim Bob Cooter, who I know you remember, Hoge, the Bears once tried to hire him as their own offensive coordinator when John Fox got here in 2015. The Lions were like, you can't have yourself no Jim Bob Cooter. He is the Colts OC for the second year here. Cooter versus Shane Waldron finding his footing is a thing. And by the way, if you remember, one thing about Jim Bob Cooter is that he was arrested once for aggravated burglary. He climbed into the window of a woman who he did not know, and
he climbed in the.
He went through the window, got in bed, and according to a police report, the officer
college.
No, he was. This was way past college. Knoxville police spokesman Daryl DeBus says there was no indication in the report that Jim Bob Cooter knew the person that he was in bed with. That's the guy they got to beat today. Jim Bob Cooter, deep dive. Let's go, Shane Waldron. You can do this. Miller Lite.
By the way,
Lite.
shout out. Stop talking. Shout out to Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
We are here, part of Miller Lite. And did we pass all those down?
Yep.
No,
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
Sorry.
that was on you, not Greg.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Greg's good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I know.
I'm good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
But yeah, we are here at Joe's on Weed, courtesy of Miller Lite. We are thrilled to be here. You know, I like Bragg's. I don't know why we're going into the arrest history of an offensive coordinator there. Let's go back to Braggs' point about, getting out to an early lead. And I feel like, this is, we talk about offensively within a game, just staying ahead of the chains. And I do think that's important. This entire game feels like a stay ahead of the chains. I'm talking about the season. Like, instead of going down 1 and 2, just find a way.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's like Colorado did last night, throwing a weird Hail Mary. I don't know what defense Baylor was in on that play. It's even, like we're running press man coverage on a Hail Mary. But whatever it takes to go 2-1 and just stay ahead of the chains on this season while you're just working out the kinks early. Nobody is surprised by this right now. And I would be shocked if it looks pretty today.
Yeah.
It probably won't. It doesn't really matter to me because this is going to be a process. I just want to be like, week 8, week 9, things start clicking offensively. And if you can just stay ahead of the chains here, stay above 500 until you get to that point, then you're going to be in a good spot November, December when the schedule gets a lot harder.
Exactly. You just got to put your quarterback in a good position. You talked about getting ahead of the downs. If you can get in a situation where you're 2nd and 4, you're 3rd and 2, it makes it a lot easier than 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, if you were to be sacked. So this is one of those games that on paper, right, it looks like we should beat the Colts. But these are the type of matchups that sometimes I worry about just with the struggles of the Bears offense. But run the football today. And I think this game ultimately comes down to which team runs the football, because you both got young quarterbacks that are trying to find themselves in the league, trying to get confidence. So for the Bears defense, they got to stop Jonathan Taylor and company. I think that's the way that the Colts can win this game, is with their run game, setting up things with Anthony Richardson, especially in the pass game with Michael Pittman.
Well, speaking of the ugliness, I mean, it will be interesting to see how much the Bears just go under center. Let's put a hat on a hat and see if we can just actually be physical here and do something that they weren't planning on doing perhaps when the season started, but maybe realizing it's one of their best options right now to win a football game in any way, shape they can.
All right, well, we got Inactives to show you here, and we'll get into a little bit more of the detail. I think there's a couple positions we need to hone in on who's active, who's not, who might play, who might not, because it is there's a couple interesting spots there. But first, I want to make sure we shout out our sponsor, Game Time, because Game Time's been with us for a long time now, and they are the place to go when you want to get tickets last minute. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And they always have the super deal ready to go for you. It is awesome. And they got all types of tiers of deals as well. You can just hit that flash deal, and it's going to show you the best spots, the best deals around the stadium in that given moment. You can also customize your spot, and you'll be able to see the views from the seats you're looking at before you buy the tickets. They take all the guesswork out of this with Game Time Picks. They show you all-in pricing. You can toggle that feature on, so you know your total up front. You're not dealing with those surprise fees at checkouts. It's really, really annoying. Don't have to deal with that with Game Time. Plus, they have the lowest price guarantee. And if for some reason you find a lower price, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Thank you. Ooh, should have had the whole crowd in that one.
We should have. All right, let's say a hello and a thank you to our friends at Circus Sportsbook, who's been just a phenomenal partner for us. College or pro, the app to bet on for football is Circus Sports Illinois. By the way, when you bet on Circus, I was doing which they encourage you to compare the lines. 1 yard less I got from my DeAndre Swift today betting on Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be. Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, the exceptional customer service that you deserve. deserve. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, in-game. Circus Sports has it. I went for the props today. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. You have to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And yes, I got DeAndre Swift jumping ahead here in the rundown at 53.5 for your over-under rushing yards. Other books had it at 54.5. Thank you very much to our friends at Circus Sportsbook.
All right, let's take a look at the Inactives again. We are at Joe's on Weed Street, presented by Miller Lite here. And the Miller Lights are flowing. The crowd is coming in. This place is going to be packed by game time. And I don't know. Greg's promising 4 touchdowns.
All
right,
That's what you guys. Greg promised 4 touchdowns.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Yes,
If not free drinks on Brax, is that
go with it.
Okay. Wait, what?
You promised it, and you're doing it.
All right, here's your Inactives versus the Colts. Velus Jones is inactive for a second week in a row.
Boo.
Noah Sewell, Dominique Robinson, Keenan Allen was ruled out on Friday. Kari Blasingame was ruled out on Friday, and Zach Pickens was ruled out on Friday. Notable actives. There's one super interesting one to me. I don't know if he's going to have much to do with this game, but it is interesting. The active is that Nate Davis is active despite that groin injury. Now, there's been a lot of rumors and reports the last couple of days that Matt Pryor will get the start. We will talk about that situation in a second. However, Karan Amagaji is active.
Wow.
Let's go.
I
So
guess that knee is
quad. He had
Quad.
bad quad injury last year at Yale. Finally getting to the point where he was a full participant in practice on Thursday and Friday, and he was not on that list of inactive, so he is active today. Now, obvious question, do you think he factors in the, no, I think he's playing tackle, and the tackles are not where the question marks are right now. However, you could see him out there on field goals and things like that just to kind of get his feet wet in the NFL. So sort of a side story there. And, of course, if somebody did get hurt, maybe he ends up playing. We'll have to see. But let's talk more about that right guard situation. Matt Pryor could get the start today. It sounds like we might have more of a rotation. Now, last week, Nate Davis he played the whole game because Ryan Bates was out. So Matt Pryor was Nate Davis was also the guy doing the silent count, tapping on the center's ass to snap the ball, and somehow still false starting at the same time. That was a new one for me. That was unbelievable. So I don't know if Pryor will handle that. I don't know how much they'll have to go to the silent count. Roof is closed today, but it should be a pro Bears crowd at the same time.
Yep.
So at least 50-50, I think. So I don't know how that's all going to work out. I don't love a rotation. I will point out, though, that if Pryor is in there, we're talking about a 6'7" guard and a quarterback who's already been who's sort of been struggling with finding the passing lanes because he's not the tallest quarterback in the league. I'd set the over-under on passes going off of Matt Pryor's, the back of Pryor's head, at least a half today.
6'7" guard. That's tough.
I mean, that's just and that's an adjustment. Like, if you're going to rotate these guys, there's a big difference when you put Pryor in there versus Davis.
Exactly. I don't like the whole rotation thing. Give Pryor the reins, right? And if he doesn't play well, you take him out at that point. But I think it's going to be better than what Nate Davis did because there was just no effort there. I know Pryor is going to be jacked up, ready to go, and you look at their defensive tackles, like they're not any world beaters in there. So I feel pretty good about keeping him in there. See what he can do. I think it's only going to be better because half the battle in this league is mostly about effort. Sometimes, it's technique and things like that. But Nate Davis, just effort wasn't there last week, and I think everybody saw that.
I mean, I feel like we need to do the history of Matt Pryor because, Bears fans are going to get to know this guy, I think,
fairly. Do you have his arrest history, too?
I don't, because he doesn't have one, and that's what makes him the guy that we want here. 6th-round pick, 2018, Hoge. Philadelphia Eagles, all right?
Yes.
Out of TCU, where he played 16 games at right guard, by the way, at TCU. It's not a ton. Then that's where he's playing today. This is a guy that got traded by the Eagles and a 7th-round pick to the Colts for a 6th-round pick. So he did nothing in Philadelphia. They were able to squeeze out a 6th-round pick by attaching a 7th with it. So, we're in the Chase Claypool land here in a weird sort of way. But then the Colts did pay him. They gave him a 1-year deal for $5.5 million. And then he was a 49er, and now he's a Bear. And if you go to Reddit, which I don't recommend in any way, especially when it comes to my name in this show.
But you still go to it.
I did today just to see what people had to say, and there are comments from my cousin Bobby, R.I.P. Caleb Williams, and then there's another comment. He's genuinely the worst NFL player I've ever seen. He got beat off the line in the most pathetic, effortless ways. Didn't need to put a spin or swim on him, just run around him. So I'm excited to see him. Anything can be better than Nate Davis, but I'm also like, okay, I don't know if he can do it or can't. We'll start to find out today.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is, and we said this on the post-game show, or I said this on the post-game show last week, if you're going to just do it, like make a decision. Yeah. Don't come Matt Eberflus on Wednesday and talk about continuity and then say you're going to stick with your O-line, and then 3 days later we're hearing reports that, no, now I am going to switch it. And when Ryan Bates comes back, I might switch it again. Yeah. Like that goes completely against the grain of what continuity is. And I understand that Nate Davis goes against the grain of what the hits philosophy is. Then make a damn decision. Like that's where I'm at with it. And then once you have it, let these guys play together. The more you shuffle the chairs, the longer it's going to take for the table to get set.
Exactly.
And this is where I want to switch the conversation a little bit to the running back spot too, because we're
so
talking about Blasingame being out for the second straight week. And then on top of that, Travis Homer, who's been getting probably more playing time than any of us really want, but because he's been in there because of his pass protection. I'm surprised you didn't accuse me of another jinx in this situation, because I came on the show Thursday talking about how ripped this dude was. And then by the end of practice, he was going on IR with a finger injury. So maybe it's just because I was there and I looked at him that he got hurt. I'm surprised you're not attacking me on that.
You know what? I've learned in the last week to find my inner peace.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I don't believe you.
Congratulations.
I don't believe you, but I like it. I like where we're headed.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Right. But despite those two guys being out, Carm, Velus is still inactive.
Well, so right.
I thought when I saw Homer's going on IR, I'm like, well, and Blasingame out, this is probably opening the door for Velus to get some more carries.
So let's just go down that road. And I know that I'm climbing up a steep hill. And
oh, no.
Well, look, who in the Bears running back room has the biggest big play capability?
Khalil Herbert.
DeAndre Swift does.
Okay, I would argue
I thought you talking about running the football.
I am. I'm talking. Yeah. I would
either
argue,
way. Like, are you asking for passing or running, or just running?
I'm saying that ball in hand, ball in his belly. Who do you think has the biggest ability if he breaks free? A, to break free, period, break a tackle, and B, to run away from everybody.
Khalil Herbert.
I think it's Velus.
Years
Don't you?
Yeah. A couple years ago,
Herbert hasn't run. He's solid.
A couple years ago, Khalil Herbert had like the most yards,
highest yards per carry. Yep.
I understand, but he's not.
But he doesn't have that top gear. I understand what Carm's trying to say here. I disagree with him. I would say DeAndre Swift,
but he can't break a tackle. So there's a difference. That's look.
But that's not what you asked.
I understand, but I'm saying Velus is going to fall forward. Velus is going to break tackles. Velus is 6'2" and 215. You have to get your running game going. Your offensive line needs some help here. So does your rookie quarterback. This is your highest bar. So, and then you just look at what they did today.
It's a steep hill to climb, Carm, but I think it's a worthy fight to try to make. I think the overall point is because Caleb talking about it on Wednesday, that one of the things he's really got to learn is lining up what the right run should be. So until they get that figured out and the offensive line figures out how they're blocking these run fits, to then ask Velus, who's inexperienced in that role, to then work around that learning curve is, I think, where they're at.
And
right
then a
now.
guy you don't trust with the football to give him carries, to have the ball in his hands, like
right. But then if you don't trust him and you're not going to trust him, then just set him free and let him start from scratch somewhere else.
Well, and I don't think they're going to trust him in pass protection yet. So this comes down to a big game for Roschon Johnson, probably in that role, taking over everything that Travis Homer's been doing, why Travis Homer's been out there. I don't necessarily think that Roschon Johnson's your home run hitter as a running back. He will certainly run tough between the tackles, and I would like to see more runs up the middle instead of trying to stretch stuff to the outside.
Bears would love some tough yards. Some tough yards.
So I think Roschon Johnson probably plays a big part in this game. But with only 3 running backs now active today, and we did see a game last year where they ran out of running backs and Kari Blasingame had to all of a sudden take all the carries. He's not even active.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
Somewhat of a precarious situation. I am a little surprised Velus is not active.
Well, and just to the decisions of who's active and who's not active, if you're going to make Karan Amagaji active, that means in my mind that he can play. And so why would you have Nate active too? You don't. So you think he's willing to? What you just said.
He doesn't play that position.
I just
He
okay.
doesn't play tackle. Yeah. So
Guys barely had practice at tackle, let alone throw him in there at right guard.
All right. I look. Well, that math doesn't work for me. Fair enough. Okay.
in this game, getting the run game going, I want to see Mercedes Lewis in there. I want to see Cole Kmet, right? I think those are two of the better blocking tight ends in this league. Why not some combo blocks? Maybe some old school power. I know we don't have the, fullback. I was hoping Blasingame would be in this game because I think whenever you have a team that's struggling, especially with the stretch zones, they've been getting beat just by guys penetrating, getting up the field. Combo blocks kind of takes away from that.
Yep.
So I was hoping today that we could see a little bit more of the combo blocks.
It definitely hurts to not have your fullback there. They need to have a running back in the backfield.
Yep.
Stop going empty as much as you are. You're putting a lot on Caleb Williams to call out all the protections, identify who the hot read is, and then make sure he's getting the ball out quickly. Have your fail safe with someone in the backfield, whether that's a tight end, running back, and unfortunately the fullback's out here today.
A little bit of interesting pregame news we wanted to bring you.
Jerry Rapport.
In fact, we might even be able to see it right now as the TVs are on. Yes, we can see it. You guys notice what's on his left arm?
A play call sheet.
That is a wristband, we call that. And
yeah, Braggs, get your NFL terminology down.
No, Braggs is half right because inside that wristband are the plays. At least the
if
calls.
it was just a wristband, who would care about that?
This is a significant adjustment, though, because and we'll give credit to our friend Stacey Dales because this is where it originated on Twitter. Stacey Dales reporting that Caleb Williams will wear a wristband for the first time today with hopes of having a faster and cleaner operation. So a little bit of an indication there that maybe they haven't been getting the calls in quite as quick. Remember, we are talking about wordy play calls for the first time. He's going from a Lincoln Riley system where they literally give him a hand signal and that's the play and everybody just runs it. Everybody knows what that means. Everybody runs it. Whereas now you're giving specific instructions to your O-line, the protection, each route within your play, all of that stuff being in a very wordy play call. And that's a huge adjustment for a quarterback to make. With the wristband, typically you can now just kind of do a number or something like that, and then he can read it right off the wristband, get all that out in the huddle a lot faster, Corey.
Can you answer this? Does this mean the Bears have been doing wrong by Caleb the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. I'm excited to see how this will work out today. This is one of those games where you need to get your confidence up when you look at it, just to get Caleb feeling comfortable. So if we can keep him upright, nobody in his face, I think this would be a positive in the game today.
All right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk with Nick coming up next. He's at Lucas Oil Stadium. Maybe he probably has some eyes on what's going on with Caleb in the pregame. And I guess there's two ways to look at that. You can either complain about what they did wrong the last couple of weeks, or you can give them credit for, acknowledging what maybe wasn't working, and every single week you're trying to improve whatever you can improve as a coaching staff. So I at least like them not being stubborn. But we are having a great event out here at Joe's on Weed.
Yes.
With the crowds coming in.
Look at you people. Let's go.
We got a Braxton Jones jersey in the house.
7D, what's up?
That's aggressive. What's cool about CHGO here being our third football season is pretty much every week we have something cool to offer all of the amazing Bears fans out there. So this week we're here for a road game. Next week, Bears are back home. Braggs, what does that mean?
Yeah, in the next 2 weeks, Bears are at home. We have tailgates for each of those. All of you guys here at Joe's on Wheat Street, you can see over here, there's a banner over by the bar where you can scan the QR code. Go to allchgo.com/events. That's where the QR code will take you. If you're watching here on the stream or listening to the pod, you can get your tickets to our tailgates over the next couple weeks. You were there last home game.
Fun.
It's always a great time at the corner of Wabash and Cermak with our guys over at the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club. All the Miller Lite you need. You got Firewater Barbecue. The food is money. It is money.
Yeah, exactly. And you get to meet Braggs.
And you get to meet
You get to
Braggs.
take a picture with the knee brace on.
Yes,
and
the
everything.
whole bit. You get everything. You get the whole CHGO Bears crew there. It's a lot of fun. Tons of Bears fans there. Thousands of Bears fans there every single home game. So make sure you go to allchgo.com/events, and you will be able to come to any tailgate for every home game here the rest of the season. They're a lot of fun. You will not regret it. And hey, everybody that's in here as well, we got our guy Patrick Norton in the back. Let's give our shout out to Patrick. He's new to the CHGO Bears team. He's working the T-shirt table. We have our brand new design, the Claws Up shirt. We got the Air It Out shirt with our franchise collection. Then, of course, the Chicago versus everybody, as you see Patrick Norton displaying those like a Vanna White. It's like Vanna White back there. He's looking. He's
a little bit better looking, I think.
Little better looking than Vanna
so.
White.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's a big win for you, Patrick. Let's go.
By the way, no shipping. You don't have to pay for shipping. It's right there for you. You get to walk out with a great gig. I love the T-shirt on site here. It's a nice look.
Okay. Let's go to Nick.
Shall we?
Nick.
You stepped over my joke is what happened there, and
I'm sorry.
He's excited today. Like
he is, but
a little.
bit.
He's like,
Too excited, but like not in the flow.
we need to
just
get you a wristband.
No,
Got to calm
you
myself
kind
down.
of are like you're like Bragg's energy today a little bit.
Yeah.
We're live at Joe's on Weed. I see people. It gets me excited. Look at my guy just chugging down early cockies. It's amazing.
Oh,
That would be a beer.
pause. Can we just call it a drink?
Yeah.
No,
No.
we cannot.
Brouhaha, something like that.
Can we just be normal for 5 seconds?
Oh, man.
No, we can't. That's been proven now for a long time. Maybe the most normal of us all, Nicholas Moreano. He's out there.
Let's not go crazy.
Beautiful Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a nice venue out there.
It's all right.
It's your state. Nick, what's going on? What can you tell us?
Yeah, guys. So it's looking at that offensive line. Matt Pryor is going to be the one that is filling in for Nate Davis at right guard, you guys. So we were all thinking about it. A couple of hours before all this actually happened. But this looks like the move that the Bears are going to make to hopefully try to get their run game going. So Matt Pryor, right guard, I think is the biggest storyline. We'll see how that really impacts this rushing attack that's been non-existent so far through the first 2 weeks.
Nick, we're just talking about Caleb and the wristband here. Obviously you can see that too. Any I don't know. Was there any tip on that this was going to be coming? I'm assuming you're surprised, like a couple of us. Not that it's a huge deal, but it is different.
Well, when you heard, I think it was Shane Waldron in his press conference, they were trying to steal seconds, right? And in any way they can, if this is a way for Caleb to steal seconds and just getting in and out of the huddle, I can see why they may want to implement this wristband. So again, more efficient in another road game. It's going to be loud in here. So if this is a way that they feel like they can get Caleb in and out of the huddle a little bit more effectively, then hey, you have to do whatever that you think is best for the team in that individual week. So I don't see it as a huge deal. Obviously, it's only his third game in the NFL, but they're going to use the wristband. We'll see how that maybe gets them in the huddle, out of the huddle, maybe eliminate those pre-snap penalties, things like that.
Nick, do you remember? I mean, there's people in the chat saying that they remembered him wearing it last Sunday. I blacked out some point through the 7 sacks Caleb Williams took. Do you remember him wearing a wristband last Sunday? Seems to be a discrepancy with some of the fans watching the show here.
Yeah, let me see. I mean, I obviously take a lot of pictures throughout the game. I'm just going to see if I can find really quickly if Caleb Williams was wearing a wristband or not. I've seen a wristband on his left arm in the Houston game. So I have a clear picture of him on the bench with Shane Waldron, Kerry Joseph, and there's the white wristband on his left arm. So I don't know if this is actually technically a new thing, but I do see it right here in one of the photos I have. So
Interesting.
And Nick, so a big thing we talked about is getting the run game going. So this week, right, Swift has got most of the carries. Do you look for Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert to get some more carries this week?
Well, I think you have to, especially with Travis Homer going, on IR. Someone's got to fill in as that third down back. And I think, we need to see Roschon at some point in this offense. We obviously haven't seen him up to this point, but the Colts like to bring the blitz. And if you have a good guy like Roschon Johnson, who I think is the best blocking back that the Bears have, then you have to put him in there at some point in the game, see what he can do, especially when the Colts bring extra defenders, and give him an opportunity. But I think this is an opportunity for some of these other backs to get involved, especially because this Colts defense just gave up 250-plus yards to Green Bay last week, and they did it on outside runs, inside, whatever type of runs that the Packers were running, they were picking up big chunks, especially in that first half of the game last week.
Hey, Nick, give us a live count right now. Colts fans to Bears fans.
Hey, obviously it's a 3-hour drive from here to Chicago. It's not far at all, but I've been seeing a whole bunch of Bears fans here throughout when I got here 3 hours earlier, and then right now even in the stadium. A lot of orange. Obviously there's blue everywhere, but there's a lot of orange in the stadium. So I don't think I can count each individual fan there, Mark, but there's a bunch of Bears fans here in Indianapolis.
All right. Well, Nick.
Well, I do have one more question though. Do you think the Matt Pryor is huge news, right? So, do you think it is an indication that they are going to go to a run heavy philosophy? Because to me, as big as he is, it feels like that move indicates that they may run the ball more than we've seen here the first 2 weeks.
Well, it's not even just a Matt Pryor move here, Greg. I mean, that's the weakness of the Colts defense. Until someone can stop, or until they can stop the run, you have to at least commit to it in this game. And I think the Bears have the backs that can, get some big plays in this one. But with Matt Pryor starting, I think he's better as a run blocker. So I think there's a little bit of both sides there, Greg. But I expect to see the Bears utilize 2 tight end sets, get into the run game, downhill, under center, and exploit this Colts defense. And we'll see how Matt Pryor kind of just meshes with the guys that he's going to be next to with Shelton and Darnell Wright. But Matt Pryor's a big dude. He can move some people, and we want to see that in this game.
All right, Nick. Well, enjoy the hot dog laden press box of Indianapolis. Shout out to John Fox for that one. And we'll talk to you after the game, okay?
All right, you guys. See you.
I do the assumption, let's just say, that the Bears are going to be able to run all over the Colts today. Because let's flip this a little bit. What was the Bears' biggest problem last week?
So many problems, so little time.
Protecting the
quarterback, dealing with the stunts, picking up the blitzes, quarterback understanding where his hots were. So if you're the Colts, what are they talking about all week? How they need to blitz
Heat them up.
Yeah. Heat them up.
Heat 'em
all
up.
this stuff. Take advantage of what they're not good at. All this stuff. And there's just this assumption probably down there that, they're going to be able to get after Caleb. Well, what if the Bears been working on all week?
Right.
They've made a change on their offensive line. I mean, there's got to be something to this wristband thing. Shout out to Nick for realizing that he wore it last week, but Stacey Dales is too good of a reporter to bring that up without there being something to that. So I don't know if the wristband is different this week or maybe they've itemized it better. I have no idea.
Something he'll answer after the game.
But the point I'm making here is the Bears made all these adjustments this week to fix what went wrong, and they're looking at this like, well, we're going to do a better job against those blitzes. We're going to pick this up. What do you think the Colts have been doing all week? They're working on stopping the run. I'm sure they've made adjustments, and it's not like the Bears are running out there with Hall of Famers in the middle of their offensive line where they're just going to be opening up wide open holes like the Packers did last week.
Well, both teams have to prove they can fix it because teams are going to continue to attack you until you prove you fix the problem. The Texans last week, they did not heat up Caleb Williams right away. Yep. Well, he was 9 for 9 to start. Then they started blitzing. The Texans as a team averaged game to game 25% blitzing. In the Bears game, they blitzed them 43% of the time and 73% of the time on third down. Yep. They went to full blitz and man-to-man coverage on third down dropbacks for Caleb Williams. So the Colts, I don't care if they're not as good as Houston or not as good as the Titans with their defensive line. They're going to heat up Caleb Williams until the Bears can prove they can stop it.
Well, hold on, though. The Colts play a ton of cover 3. They're not a blitzing team. I mean, Woot, you can speak to this. Hey, guys, we're gonna blitz every down because the Bears can't do it. It's not really what we do. I mean, do you see that's how this is going to go?
I think just judging based off what we saw on film last week, they're going to try to bring the house on them, especially with the young quarterback. Anytime you're playing a rookie quarterback, you want to get after them, whether they've had good games before or not, right? You want to put the stress on them. But the Bears this week, I want them to have 30-plus rushing attempts from running backs. I don't want true scrambles from Caleb Williams. I want them to give the rock to their running backs because sometimes, like I said earlier, it doesn't always work at first. It's that war of attrition. All of a sudden, then you break a big one. Then you build that momentum. But what it does is it keeps the defense honest. So then with your young quarterback, you can work hard play action and take some shots to get his confidence up.
One thing I want to run by you, too, is flipping this to the other side. I mean, I think right now with DeForest Buckner out, you talk about how that's probably kind of week on that side right now between the two teams' weaknesses. The other side should be an awesome battle.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if people notice, Andrew Billings is really good. Yeah. And he's playing – by the way, this is where I want to touch on you. And he's going to be going up against Quentin Nelson, who I love.
Also,
that's
great matchup.
I mean, that's one of the better matchups in the league this week. Billings has been playing a lot of three technique.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Yep.
And I don't know if that has to do with Billings. Is they're just tapping into head. Because when I watched the film last year, I'm like, this dude's getting the backfield. He's penetrating. I know he's bigger, and he probably doesn't look like your typical three technique. But who the hell cares? If he's getting penetration, that's what you need out of that position. So I don't know if this is just Eric Washington, who you know well, coming in, being like, well, I don't know, our best penetrating D tackle is this dude. I don't care what he looks like. Or is this a knock on Gervon Dexter not getting that get off? I'm not really sure. What do you think about that?
I think it's just maximizing the matchups that you have. He's playing best, and he's disrupting the run. Most of the time, they run the ball to that three technique. So they're just capitalizing on that matchup. And so he's getting penetration. He's stuffing the run. And also, he's made some really good moves pass rush-wise, something that we really haven't seen as much. So I think Eric Washington has really helped him develop as a pass rusher as well. And he's arguably playing – he's our best defensive lineman right now at both facets, stopping the run and pass rush. Gervon Dexter has really flashed in there. Still, does he have to work on the pad level and the get off and some components of the run game? But what I've loved, what I saw from him in pass rush, active hands, and that's something taking the next step. He's got 2 sacks through 2 games.
Yep.
Really been dominant in there. Obviously, you got to clean up the run stuff. But I'm looking forward to seeing just the growth of this defensive line because now they're playing well. We know what they have at the linebacker core. We know what they have in the secondary. And this defense is really keeping them in the game. Even after last week, right? They still had a chance at the end of the game to potentially win the game.
I mean, if you want to talk about moves that Ryan Poles has done that have not getting a ton of attention, but like our home runs, Andrew Billings is one of them.
Yep. Daryl Taylor's another.
Yeah.
I mean, so far,
Well,
it's just
Billings, those
But Billings is a starter
Oh
who
my
has been
gosh.
bringing it every week, and shout out to them for also extending him early, understanding. They got him on a cheap deal, and then now they've extended him. I mean, I'm not saying he's playing to Akeem Hicks levels, but it's sort of that same vibe where they got a guy on a short-term deal, he hit a home run in this new spot. They extended him, and now they got him a little bit more long-term. I do want to point out, though, Billings is dealing with a groin injury, too. I don't know what's going on with these groin injuries. This has been a problem going back to the start of training camp. Yeah. There's been so many players on the Bears dealing with groin injuries, but Billings has one, too. That's something to watch because they cannot afford to lose him.
Well, and Woot, you could speak to this, but you're talking about a guy.
I'm sorry, and real quick, just also because Pickens is out, too. He's not even playing.
right.
Well, you're talking about a guy taking on
Also groin.
Yeah, well, it's like you. Let's talk about what they're asking him to do. Hey, dude, play the nose, take on 2 guys, get off the ball, get off a block, make a tackle, and let's do this over a 18-week, 17-game season. Yeah. You start to, physically start to get beat up, and and now the groin, week 3. It's
the one good part is Billings is not an end, right? He's not as explosive as a guy off the edge. So I'm hoping with the Toradol, the shot they give him before the game, that really numbs you up. That stuff works wonders. I've used that plenty of times where I'm like, I'm not going to play this week. You get that shot, you feel like Superman.
Is that street legal?
It's street legal. You can get it from your doctor. So if you want to do something once you get healed up and you're ready to go,
okay,
we can get that going.
It's like cortisone upgraded, right?
Getting a whoop.
Oh, the next day you feel like garbage. I think that's what people don't realize. The next day after Toradol, you can barely move. Like that thing. That's how strong it is.
It's stronger, but it's a lot more temporary.
Exactly.
Where cortisone is supposed to last a little bit longer, be more of a long-term solution. That Toradol is like, here's a 3-hour booster.
I'm gonna have a shot of whiskey before I have a shot of Toradol here today.
Your beautiful wife is your food over there.
Let's hear it for Jenny.
Let's hear it for
my
Jenny.
beautiful wife.
Let's go. If you like to, don't leave the show.
You want me to leave and go eat?
Well, I would not be able to. I mean, Joe's always just got great food along with a great drink, and your food's going to be cold, and that sucks for you. But it's
I'll
there.
be fine.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit more about the defensive line, in particular Montez Sweat, right? I think
also dealing with an elbow injury.
so. He's been a little banged up. We haven't seen the same production that we saw last year. Other guys are stepping up, but hoping this is one of those games where he can step up and be huge, because if the Bears are going to contain Anthony Richardson, the only worries I have, right, if they don't keep him in the pocket, you see what he is as an athlete. When he scrambles, he feels very comfortable. So Montez Sweat, Taylor, some of those guys have to keep him in the pocket.
Well, and you saw week 1 with those stunts, the way Will Levis was able to not get onto the outside, but actually up the middle.
Exactly.
So they cleaned that up as the game went along, and it feels like they're tightening up as every quarter passes. Yeah. But, yeah, Anthony Richardson is a whole new challenge for them.
Oh, he's probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks ever play in this league, so they're going to have to keep him in the pocket. I think if they can keep him in the pocket, they're going to win this game, and obviously stopping the run with Jonathan Taylor, because he can really hurt you. But like Hoge said, the big matchup I'm looking at is, against Quentin Nelson and Andrew Billings. How is that going to be, right?
Yeah.
Who gets the best of both? And then if Gervon Dexter
it'd be a good week for Gervon Dexter to explode and have a really good game.
Exactly. So when I'm looking at him, I want to see the pad level and the get off, because it's still been a little inconsistent. It's been better in the pass rush game, but if you can do that during run downs, I think it'd be huge in this game.
All right, let's talk about our prop bets, and then we're going to get into our predictions. We're getting closer and closer to that time. It's about 12 minutes from kickoff now.
All right, let's go.
In Indianapolis. I will start with my prop bet. We were talking about the running back situation earlier, and I think that, a little bit sort of a gut feeling here. I like the odds. I think there's this assumption that DeAndre Swift's going to go off today.
I made that assumption.
Because of the Indianapolis Colts can't stop the run. That's fine. I do think that matchup will allow for some opportunities in the red zone, but I will expect him to go to Khalil Herbert actually in those moments. So I'm going with the Khalil Herbert anytime touchdown.
Like that.
Plus 240. Pretty good odds there. Again, sort of a gut feeling, but I got Khalil Herbert finding the end zone today with that anytime TD.
I think sprinkling around the running backs is a great play today if that's how you're going to do your gambling NFL day. Do it, by the way, with Circa. Good. I like your pick there, Hoge. I am taking the chalk here. DeAndre Swift, I got him at 53.5. I made this bet last week, 13 carries, 18 yards. That was painful. It's going to happen this week. Right there, Shane Waldron, you guys are going to figure this out. The Colts are giving up, if you can't get to 53.5, then that's just really, really a bad sign. So I'm making the play. You can also do, I did a pairing. You can do Herbert's rushing yards, the over of 17.5, and DeAndre Swift for 25 yards receiving, which I also love. That's plus 415. 4-1 odds on Herbert getting over 18 and Swift getting 25 yards. Come on, that's got to happen.
Yeah, my prop is Caleb Williams over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Okay.
I got him with 2. I'll get you my final score, my official amount of touchdowns here in a minute. But I think Caleb Williams, the first 2 weeks, he should have had a touchdown each week.
Yep.
They were dropped. So I know he can get 1, but I'm going to push the envelope, and I'm going to say he's going to get 2.
I like that.
Moving the ball a little bit better, executing. Hey, maybe a big play even pops. But
you got it for plus 170?
Yeah.
So less than 2-1?
On the Circus Sportsbook app, it's plus 170 for Caleb Williams. 2 passing touchdowns. And you dig it.
Oh,
I mean, that market plus 170 is telling you that
They don't believe it.
No, they stay quiet. That means that they think it is going to happen. So
I don't know about that. Why wouldn't it be?
Do you think the odds should be better?
Yes, he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass.
Yeah. That's still pretty high odds.
Yeah, but you got to understand there's Bears fans
you're not a gambler. It's less than 2-1, dude.
But Carm, you got to understand there's a lot of people like Greg who are going to bet that.
Okay, so which one is it? It's going to happen, or we got morons betting it. One of the two. I mean that in the nicest way.
Well, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay, I mean, listen.
He has 0 passing touchdowns in his career as a Chicago Bear, preseason included.
All right, we got to keep it moving. Corey, what's your prop bet?
Piggyback off the quarterback situation. Caleb Williams, I got him for over 175 yards passing. I think for them to win this game, he's got to do that. Hopefully the run and the play action sets it up. Hopefully he has a great game in there.
Yeah, and not getting a ton of value on that one, minus 350, but
what's trying to cash?
It's another indication that he's going to hit that. He'll have some a better game.
Woot bet Secretariat to show.
I just bet that he has a good game. That's it. I don't care about the return for me.
I like it. All right, let's get to our game predictions, which, as always, are presented by Ray Auto Group. And by the way, Ray Scarpelli,
My guy.
texting in this week, he's got the Bears winning 21-14. Bears winning 21-14. Again, before we show you Greg's prediction, he is guaranteeing the Bears score 4 touchdowns in this game.
That it's a lie.
And if they don't, he's buying a round for the entire bar.
Well, I have the final score 26-16. So unless they're scoring 4 touchdowns and a safety, which is not what I have them with 3 touchdowns.
That's not how that works, by the way.
What? Am I messed up
4
on my mess?
4
My
touchdowns, and would you get -2 for
Oh,
safety?
yeah, my bad.
You missed 2 extra points. Would be
Yes,
how that would work.
3 touchdowns and 2 field goals. I'm sorry.
Indiana
It's been
public education. I'll tell you what.
You know what, Woot?
That would also be 27.
We're still not
points.
adding up there properly. This is not a math show. It's okay.
It's not okay.
Don't make me do math.
All right,
I'm just going to check out the rest of the show.
let's see these predictions again, because I can't see them anywhere except for on the television. All right, I am going 16-13. I'm expecting another low-scoring game, just to grind it out again. Don't turn the ball over. Find a way to win. Keep getting better next week type of victory. 16-13, I do have the Bears winning.
I'm the only one that
Oh.
picked against him this week.
Boo!
Carm sucks.
Carm sucks. Carm sucks. Carm sucks.
I just don't understand the line, and you would think that the Bears would get themselves going today, but I guess I just worry
No
mostly
DeForest Buckner.
Why don't
Right.
you understand the line?
because
Who do you think should be favored?
I think the Bears should be like a 2-3 point favorite here. I
Oh,
think
On the road.
on the road?
the Indianapolis Colts are 0-2. The
Yeah,
Indianapolis
they're
Colts
desperate.
The Indianapolis Colts have a quarterback that is completing less than 50% of their passes. The Indianapolis Colts gave up 261 rushing yards last week when Malik Willis was at quarterback and they knew that they were running. How are the Colts favored? I don't understand it, which makes me think that Vegas knows something that is going to happen today that the betting market doesn't know. But money is more on the Colts than on the Bears. Not enormously, but last time I looked, it was 55% on Indianapolis. I bet against the public, and I just felt like it's a good opportunity for value for me because you all are picking the Bears. So maybe I take a lead in the standings. I thought about that way too. I'm playing the risk game. You're up, Gregory.
I already
I'm
said it.
sorry.
We
Never
already
mind.
went through mine. I'm not doing it anymore
Good.
because then I have to do math.
Yeah,
I got the Bears winning.
my bad. You're up.
I've got a
Luke,
lot
you're
of
up.
points being
Yeah.
scored.
I got the Bears winning 21-17. I think it's going to be a close one. I think they're going to get the running game going. I don't think this is a game where Caleb really goes off, but I think they finally get the running game going this week.
Jonathan Taylor averaged over 8 yards a carry last week. They didn't use him as the game went along because they were chasing. So it's a good chance for the Bears up front to show their dominance once again with the run game.
Yeah, it feels like he got benched there for reasons that go beyond just pass protection.
Yeah?
Well, he was their offense, and then
Fumbled, right? Didn't he fumble?
they didn't give him the ball. Like,
Right.
to your point, quarterback's not completing even 50% of his passes. You're trailing, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
Why don't you give your best offensive player the ball? Instead, you put him on the bench the whole fourth quarter. I mean, something there does not add up.
Sort of
You
goes
can't
back to the Jim Bob Cooter moment on the show, but perhaps I shouldn't have brought up.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Went through the window and then in the that.
Yeah, you would.
I think
I just think that's amazing.
ultimately for me, win or lose, obviously we all want the Bears to be in contention at the end of the year.
Oh, we
but
need this today.
every game is the ultimate question is today the day the light comes on for Caleb Williams? And it might be, it might not be, but that I think is what we're all waiting for, that moment. And that's not to say that he's not capable, and has the ability to be a capable quarterback in this league right now, but we'll know it when we see it, when that light finally turns on and the game's starting to slow down. And so today is another opportunity for that day to be the day.
It's about his development, and this game comes down to Shane Waldron. How can he game plan around
Yes.
the deficiencies of
Yes.
the Bears offense?
Yep.
And put them in a position to succeed. And most important, your number one pick. How can he develop and continue to grow? So
Shane
Shane
Waldron.
Waldron, this game is to see what you can do as a play caller.
All right, guys, it is that time. We're going to turn it over to the football game.
Let's go Bears! Let's go Bears! Let's go Bears! Let's go Bears! Let's go Bears!
It's awesome
Let's
Phil and
go!
shows for the second time. We did this on draft night. Now we're doing it for a game. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can still come over here too if you're watching the live stream right now and you're in the area. Come over to Joe's. It's going to be an awesome crowd here.
I'm going to be walking around to each table, getting comments, and that will be Carm's notes for the post game. So
Okay.
I'm excited about
Like a
that.
wedding.
And eating everybody's food, starting at your
Thanks
table.
to Miller Lite for having us out here, and we will be back for the post-game show as soon as the game is over. This is the only place you want to be. We got Lance Briggs and Alex Brown joining the party as well. They will be here, and they will have a Briggs and Brown show also, so there's nowhere else to be. As soon as this game is over, come right back here to CHGO.
Joe's on Weed Street, baby. Let's go.
We will talk to you guys after the Bears beat the Colts.
We all silly like the mayor.